Hi, welcome to TechCrunch TV. I'm Sarah Lacey, and I'm here with Matt Heist, who is the CEO of High Media, which may be a site our readers haven't heard of. I haven't heard of it, but I'm not a big car buff. Tell us in about a sentence or two what you guys do.
Okay. Yeah, we're a vertical content publishing company, and we have about 100 websites. Our biggest site is called The Car Connection, and then we have about 20 more that we're focused on, and really the focus of this company is content.
And it's all about cars.
All about cars.
So you're, in a way, kind of a Bleacher Report for cars or a Huffington Post for cars. Are those fair analogies?
Yeah, I think it's a fair analogy. In a simple sense, yeah, we are really a content publishing company doing some new things. The 100 sites actually together last month on February, internal metrics, were about 3.5 million visitors, which in this category is actually a pretty good size. That's up from about 500,000 2 years ago. So we have 6 full-time journalists. These guys have been around for 20 years covering cars, and they write reviews for each car every year. And we take a little bit of a different tack. We have what's called a meta approach. And so they drive the cars, rate the cars, but then they also bring in from the outside, from competitors, so to speak, what they're saying about the cars, just to make sure that the user is getting, as much as they can.
You want to make sure it's basically not a paper post thing. Here's a car, write something good about it.
Exactly. And there's a lot of great reviews out there, but we want to make sure that everybody knows they're out there and we're putting them on our site, and it's a pretty comprehensive experience.
Right.
The other thing that's interesting is with those writers, they have 2 jobs. They write, but they also have become our full-time kind of moderating, editing staff for a whole nother set of operations, which concerns our freelance operations. So we have about 350 freelance contributors. And
are they all paid?
Yeah, so I would say 95% are paid at this point. We were originally doing a lot of unpaid, and we just had a lot more confidence in, frankly, putting a little money. It's certainly not enough to pay a full-time salary, but what it does provide is these freelancers a little bit of money for a post, and then what's interesting is with all these other sites that we have, they almost exclusively focus on a site here or there, and that gives them a chance for some real upside with a rev share.
What kinds of people write for your site? Are they people who've been doing this for 20, 30 years and are kind of disenchanted with I don't even know if daily newspapers even have car writers anymore. Are they people, young kids who just are really enthusiastic about cars? Similar to, kind of with blogging, there are people like me at TechCrunch who've, and Eric Schoenfeld, who were kind of in the old media for a long time and then, jumped to new media. And then we have a lot of, brilliant kids who just love to blog about technology. Is it a similar blended approach?
Yeah, yes. It's all of those. So we have former journalists who, in light of what's going on with journalism now, are trying to really build a name for themselves, and they have 10, 15 years experience as journalists. We have younger folks who are just trying to earn their stripes.
So you guys try to avoid fanboys?
We really do. What we're trying to do is build media properties, and the fanboy sites, as you call them, they grow very quickly. There's a lot of passion and enthusiasm. They're not as much about media properties and building kind of an advertising platform. And so what we focus more on is really premium content. Users come to our sites to really read our journalists. The other interesting thing is these sites, I was alluding to this earlier, these sites, All Cars Electric, Green Car Reports, Family Car Guide, they have the blogs and the posts, and that's why the users generally come. But underneath them is a platform that provides all the specs, trims, photos, videos of the cars that they're writing about. And for a lot of these writers and users, that's a really important draw for them to come to our sites.
Now, one of the things that interested me about you guys is, you're doing about, close to 4 million uniques, which is pretty decent size. You were up 36% year over year in terms of traffic. As you said, you have 100 sites, you have 350 writers, you've raised 12 million from Excel and Greylock, 2 of the best early stage web VCs. Why most of us never heard of you?
Well, I think the name High Media is the company name. I think actually a lot of the sites people have heard of. And frankly, we did want to, I think it's fair to say, I wouldn't say stealth, of course, but we wanted to build up the content operations and get the right mix between our professional staff and our freelance staff. And we wanted to get some traffic. In this vertical, when you talk both to users, writers, and then ultimately advertisers, for an advertiser, it's tough to go sign up new publishers and have to set up a new campaign and all those things if you don't have a critical mass of traffic. And we finally have hit that.
And
importantly, in the last year. We've also got a better balance. We have so much content coming in that sometimes the design is a real problem. You just have too much, it's too busy, it's overwhelming for the user.
We have a problem with that. Gawker has a problem. I mean, I think every blog is
It's a challenge, and I think that we certainly haven't solved it, but I do think things are a little cleaner. We just, like I said earlier, had a redesign of the car connection. It's much cleaner. You always have a balance because now some of the great content isn't as easily accessible, but it's cleaner.
Right.
And so, there's always this tension between that. And I think those are the reasons why we're kind of, I wouldn't say having a coming out party, but we're at least just getting out there and letting folks know what we're up to.